Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today I've got something really special for you. Mary and I, my special guest reviewer here, are going to flip through this Life Celebrates the 80s special issue, which was a gift to us by one of our friends from up north. And I think you'll all enjoy this as two people who remember every year of the 80s get to look through this magazine and reflect on our perception of the 80s. Anyway, without further ado, this is Mary.
Hi.
Okay, and I'm sure Friday and Fiona will interfere at certain points during this too. So let's go ahead and start. And we, of course, start with a nice ad for Marlboro cigarettes. There's a place the time hasn't changed. And now we're Pickles, the other oral fixation thing.
That campaign hasn't changed either. They still do the whole snappy, crispy pickle thing.
Yeah. Oh, and Mary's a graphic designer, so she knows all about marketing. So that should also give you some cool perspectives here.
Yeah, and I don't really remember any of the political or dramatic things that really went on in the 80s because I was really little. I was born in 78, so a lot of the more dramatic things I don't remember, but I do remember cartoons and products and things like that, so.
And I don't remember this really cool Vivitar camera, but I remember my grandpa had Olympia, which I thought was really awesome. Or maybe it was Olympus. I don't remember. I forgot about cameras because they're really obsolete now, which is kind of sad.
Film cameras are. They still make the same brands.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, we all remember President Reagan and Nancy Reagan from Different Strokes.
The one thing, yeah.
The special episode.
The one thing I remember about the Reagans is that he liked jelly beans, and she was just saying no to drugs.
Yeah, and I remember she was on Different Strokes, and Gary Coleman said, "What you talking about, Mrs. Reagan?"
Wasn't she on that episode of Punky Brewster too?
She might have been, cause
the Just Say No to Drugs episode.
Well, no, I don't think so, because we watched that recently, and it was just Punky Brewster, and she got a hold of some drugs, and like her friend was taking them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, Mount St. Helens. Okay. Yeah, I was in kindergarten when this happened. I totally remember that, and it just sort of freaked me out. Actually, I lived in Kansas, and I don't remember, but I think people claimed they could see the ash from there. Okay.
Princess Diana's wedding.
Oh yeah. I really don't remember that. It was kind of a girly thing.
I don't remember it either. I was too young for that one.
This is the Vietnam Wall. Of course, I remember this because my dad was a Vietnam veteran, and okay, this is the Beirut bombings. I sort of remember that. I think that's when Reagan cried during the speech when some soldiers got killed. It was really sad. The Olympics.
The only thing I remember about the Olympics is that Mary Lou Retton was just like the poster child for everything during this point in time, I think. I mean, she was smiling her little smile all over the place.
And you couldn't read an article about her without the word perky popping up at some point. And she was on cereal commercials like Wheaties.
Yeah, and they always pointed out how short she was and things like that.
African famine in Africa. And this is, of course, the 80s was We Are the World and all of the support for Africa. Oh yeah, the Challenger. Okay. When the Challenger exploded, I had stayed home from school sick that day, and I remember my dad came home from work and told my mom that the Challenger exploded and the teacher got killed and everything, and I got out of bed and I was just like horrified. I remember everything about that day.
The funny thing is that I have pretty much the same story. I also was at home sick that day, and I remember I think it was like The Price is Right or something was on and got interrupted for the whole blast off or whatever, and you know, then we just all sort of sat there and watched as everything went wrong. It was really kind of bizarre because I remember at first nobody really knew what was going on, and then they kind of confirmed that, oh yeah, this is not what's supposed to happen, and it was just kind of bizarre.
It was surreal.
Yeah, it's really funny that we have pretty much the same story. They were both homesick that day.
It was so surreal, but you totally remember that. I remember Oliver North mostly from Saturday Night Live because, like, they were constantly spoofing that, and he was the Marine colonel who was caught up in the the Iran Contra scandal. I think he was engineering some drug sales to fund a rebel group or something. It was really pretty convoluted. Now he's like a talk show host or something. Yellowstone fires. I don't really remember that. Do you? Okay, Tiananmen Square. Of course, we remember that picture of the guy standing firm in front of the tank, the students who wanted democracy. So, it's funny. This is just a little side note. This picture has been photoshopped a lot. There's two mainstream versions of this photograph that exist, and this is the real one. But there's another one that has crowds all around it.
Really?
Yeah, and that one's also in circulation, and it's an example of like brainwash photoshopping that to make the event put a completely different face on the event. But it's just interesting. And there's after, is it Esprit or Spirit?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
When I was growing up, we lived out in the country and we called it E-Spirit, but
E-Spirit.
I'm sure we were wrong.
Mad for Mr. Goodrich. Okay. Transamerica. Now, didn't that have something to do with a cross-dressing now? That's the name of the show, Transamerica. Okay. J&B Neat. And...
It's a really pretty nifty ad. I kind of like it, except for the fact that it says BJ. But
I don't even know if that had the same meaning back in the 80s. I don't know.
Probably.
I was a kid though. I didn't know all the bad words back then.
Yeah.
I thought my brother invented them all. Okay. Hello again, America's most famous hostages. This is what didn't get Jimmy Carter elected was of course, the Iran hostage situation, and of course they were freed the very day that Reagan took office. But Jimmy Carter was allowed to pick them up, so that was a sad ending to his presidency. And I think this is just a picture of the people involved in the rescue efforts. It's an ad for Pentax and a nice white cat. Mucilex. I remember that cereal. I remember it was like the healthy cereal. I don't think it exists anymore, does it?
Well, this is the one that's Muesli.
Muesli?
Or whatever. And now there's Mucilex, but...
Do you remember the big 80s health kick? You know, like...
I remember the brand. Do you remember the commercial with all the cereal bowls, the total bowls that went all the way up to the ceiling?
Oh,
They're like,
yeah. How many bowls of this cereal would it take?
Yeah, and I always thought, man...
To give you the colon cleaning power.
People must have a lot of bowel problems today.
Okay, here's a cool GM commercial. Dig the 80s music we got playing, in case you didn't notice that.
I think this page, the instant gratification page, is probably my favorite page from the whole book, just simply because it talks about, look at all these different things that we have in our life that have such, make everything so speedy. If they only knew what was ahead.
Oh my gosh.
If they only knew the instantaneous lifestyle we lead now, talking about little Walkmans with cassette tapes and VHS and,
Federal Express,
a 3-minute pregnancy test. They got every kind of test you can imagine now. Word processors, Federal Express, it's just ridiculous how far we've come.
City cards. Who carries cash anymore?
Yeah, what's so instant about that compared to every single thing else we can do? I mean, I can text a message on my phone and instantly transfer money in my bank now, Everything is so much more, instant than they ever thought it would ever be.
They had no idea. Crest. I just don't see Crest anymore. I think Colgate's winning the toothpaste wars.
If you asked me what kind of toothpaste we buy, I wouldn't even know. I just look for the.
Do you remember Pepsodent? My grandparents used that, and it tasted like, I don't know.
It was baking soda.
That was like toothpaste from the Depression.
Yeah.
Nisha Enron. That's of course Gorbachev, the big enemy from the 80s, and President Reagan. And he turned out to be a big teddy bear later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like. You can pretty much chart the 80s through different Strokes episodes. Because there was an episode where Arnold made the rocket and it landed in the Soviet embassy, and then he had to talk to the Soviet ambassador, and he averted a world war or something, Okay, Camel ads that were targeted for children. Yeah.
Campaign hasn't changed in years.
Is it Chinen or Chenin cameras? I just don't know the camera brands back then. Dial, okay.
Nobody uses bar soap anymore.
Exactly. No one uses bar soap anymore. I mean, it's all liquid soap now.
Yeah, I think I can remember when like soft soap was probably like one of the first brands. But I remember when, you know, body wash became like a big deal.
I know.
And, you know, nobody uses bar soap anymore. It's only when you get in hotels or something, you know.
Yeah.
You didn't bring anything else.
I know. Okay, we're going to stop this and catch up with us on part 2.